Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are starting Unit 5, and I cannot wait. We are starting our longest unit of third grade because we are going to be focusing on multiplication for several weeks. And in a few weeks, we're going to switch from multiplication to division. But they go hand in hand. Both of them are going to be part of our Unit 5. So buckle in, get excited, because we all know that multiplication is the thing that most third graders would like to learn about. So first of all, today we're going to be talking about equal groups and how we solve multiplication problems using groups. Before we do that, though, let's talk about what multiplication actually is. Multiplication is when you add the same number together several times. So for example, 4 times 3 equals 12. That would just be adding 4 together 3 times, okay? So it'd be 4 plus 4 plus 4. Well, if I put 4 in my head and count up 4 more, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then add 4 more, 9, 10, 11, 12, then that would give me my answer. So multiplication is kind of a shortcut for adding the same number a bunch of times together. So that's what multiplication is. It's called repeated addition. We're going to get more into that later on. But for now, let's talk about some multiplication terms. Just like how we had adding, an addend plus an addend equals a sum, for multiplication, we have factors and products. Now, I want to talk to you guys about how multiplication and adding are very closely related, okay? If you look very carefully at this sign right here, this multiplication sign, it is an X. It looks like an X. But if you were to turn that sign a little bit, it's actually a plus sign turned sideways. That's because a plus sign and a multiplication sign kind of go together, because when you're multiplying, you are also getting bigger. Just like how in adding, when we add numbers together, we are getting bigger. Multiplication is just a quicker way to get a much bigger number much faster, okay? So multiplication, that little sign, that X, it looks like this. Before we had an adding sign like this, but now we have a multiplication sign that looks like this. So our chant is going to be just like our adding chant. Instead of an addend plus an addend equals a sum, it's going to be a factor times a factor equals a product, okay? A factor is one of those numbers that you multiply together. You have to have at least 2 factors to make a multiplication problem. If you see there, the 4 and the 3 are both factors. So our chant goes, a factor times a factor. And then the product is the answer. It's like if you were to make something, it's called a product, okay? It's what you produce. This is what we're producing. When we multiply 2 numbers together, we produce an answer. It's called a product. So go ahead and say it with me. A factor times a factor equals a product. Okay, now that you know it, let's try it again. Sit up nice and tall, get excited, because this is exciting stuff. A factor times a factor equals a product. A factor times a factor equals a product. A factor times a factor equals a product. Awesome job. Super proud of you guys. So let's look at how we can multiply. There are actually 4 different ways that we're going to learn about when we are talking about multiplication, okay? We're starting out with the easiest one, equal groups. Equal groups is one of my favorites because it is the easiest way to get an answer quickly to solve a multiplication problem. Next, we're going to get into arrays, which are rows. We're actually going to do that this week. Then next week, we'll talk about hops on a number line, and we're also going to mention repeated addition. So let's look at equal groups. An equal group is when you create groups with the same number in each group to find the answer to a multiplication problem. So that little time sign, that X there, is actually going to be able to say a lot of different things. First of all, it's going to be able to say groups of. So when we're talking about equal groups, instead of saying 3 times 5, we're going to say 3 groups of 5. That means I'm going to draw 3 groups, 3 circles, and put 5 in each group. And as you can see on my screen, that's exactly what I've done. So an equal group, the word equal means they have to be exactly the same. So we're taking the first number, which is 3, draw 3 circles. That's how many groups you're going to have. 3 groups of 5. We're going to put 5 in each group. That's because multiplication is just adding the same number a bunch of times. We're adding 5 3 times. So let's count the total dots to get our answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 is my answer. 3 times 5 is 15. I can also skip count by 5 to get to my answer. So if I have 5, I can skip count by 5 3 times to get there. 5, 10, 15. That's right. 15 would be our product, okay? Let's look at 2 times 7. So to find the answer for 2 times 7, I took the X and put the words groups of there. Instead of saying 2 times 7, I'm going to do 2 groups of 7. I'm going to draw 2 circles, just like this. And I put 7 of those dots in each group, okay? So we have basically 7 plus 7 to find that answer. We are doing the number 7 2 times. That's what we're doing. That's what multiplication is, okay? It's really not hard. So let's count those dots up to figure out the answer. Well, I already know that there's 7 in this group, so I don't need to count out those. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 would be our product here, okay? 14 would be the product. Let's look at a little bit of a bigger group because you are going to get into multiplication problems that might be 8 times 9, and you'd have to draw 8 groups of 9. That's a lot of dots to draw. So let's do 5 times 6, or 5 groups of 6. That first number tells you how many groups to draw, that first factor. The second factor tells you how many to put in each group, okay? So we've got 5 groups. I drew 5 big circles, 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I put 6 circles in each group. You can put whatever shape you want in that group. If you want to draw squares, if you want to draw triangles, if you want to draw circles, whatever, it's fine. But they do need to all look the same, okay? So let's count these up to find our answer. What is 5 times 6? 5 groups of 6. Well, I've got 5 in this, or 6 in this group. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now, I will tell you a little secret. It can be really difficult to count the dots correctly to get an answer this way. So as I count them on paper, I like to mark them out so that way I don't accidentally count those dots more than one time, okay? So when you're counting, make sure you're really focused because it's easy to lose count, and also mark them off as you count them out because that way you're not losing track of the answer, okay? So 5 times 6 would be 30. Another way to do this would be, I see that there's a 5 in this problem, so that tells me that I could skip count by 5s. I'm going to skip count by 5s however many times the other number is, so 6 times I could go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That would be my answer, okay? So another way to do this would be one group of 9. So if I have 1 times 9, it's just one group of 9. I drew one circle and put 9 in that group. So my answer is just going to be, how many dots are there? There's 9. So one group of 9, 1 times 9 is 9. Because I'm asking myself, I wonder what 1 times 9 is. Well, 9, one time is just 9. If I gave you $9 one time, you would have $9, okay? Let's look at 3 times 6. This one's a little bit more challenging because we don't really know how to skip count by 3s or 6s. So we would definitely want to draw a picture for this, a model, which groups is a great option to figure this out quickly. So 3 groups of 6. I drew 3 circles because that's my first factor. And then I put 6 in each group. So I'm adding 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, let's figure out the answer by counting the dots. There's 6 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 would be our product. It would be the answer. All right, now let's kind of do it a little bit backwards. Instead of giving you the multiplication sentence, I want you to find the multiplication sentence. So we have a model here. A model is a fancy word for a picture, not a model. No, a model is a picture, okay? So we have a model of equal groups. We are going to figure out what multiplication problem this picture, this model is showing. So first of all, I'm going to count the groups to figure out my first factor. There are, well, they're testing something. We're going to keep rolling on. There is 7 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups. So 7 would be my first factor times how many is in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 times 4 is going to be my multiplication sentence equals, well, we have to add them all up to figure out the product. So let's count them up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So our problem would be 7 groups of 4 equals 28, or 7 times 4 equals 28, okay? So I had 7 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, big circles, 7 groups. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group, so 4 was my second factor. And then 4 7 times is 28. So I did 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Or I counted up all the dots to get my answer. All right, let's try this one. This one's a little bit harder. Not as many groups, but there's more inside each group. So how many groups do we have? We have 1, 2, 3 groups. So 3 is going to be our first factor. And then let's count how many there are in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you notice how I'm touching each dot with my mouse? That's because you need to also count, because it's easy for your eyes to play tricks on you. So count them out very carefully, okay? So I've got 9 in each group. So 3 times 9 is going to be our problem. Now let's find the answer. 9 is in this group, so let's go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So our problem is 3 groups of 9, or 3 times 9 equals 27, okay? 3 and 9 are my factors here. 27 is my product. Notice how the answer is bigger. That's because multiplication is getting bigger, just like adding, okay? So we've got 3 groups, 1, 2, 3. That's my first number, my first factor. Then 9 in each group is my second factor. 3 times 9 equals 27. So 9 3 times is 27. That's how I got my answer. All right, I think we have one more. This is going to be our last one we're going to do together. All right, I want you to try to figure this one out on your own, okay? Let's see if you can do it. So first of all, tell me what our first factor would be. Our first factor is the number of groups. How many groups are there here? If you said 4, you are correct. 4, there are 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4 big groups, okay? So 4 times what numbers in the groups? How many are there in each group? I'm not asking for the total. I'm not asking for the product. I'm asking for how many are you adding together, okay? So we've got how many in this group? How many do you think? If you said 8, you're correct. So our problem is going to be 4 groups of 8. They each have 8 in them. So 4 times 8 is going to give us what? Count them up to get the product. So 4 groups of 8, or 4 times 8 equals how many? Okay, so there's 8 here, so then count up the rest of them. If you got 32, you are correct. So our whole multiplication sentence is 4 times 8 equals 32, because there are 4 groups of 8. So it's like we're saying 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 4 times, okay? If we added all of those together, we would get 38. So multiplication is just a quicker way of adding the same number a bunch of times, okay? Equal groups is a very easy way, easy strategy to figure out any multiplication problem. The things to watch out for: making sure that you draw the right amount of groups. So the first number is how many groups you draw, 4. Then putting the right amount in each group, making sure each group has 8 in it, because they have to have the exact same number in them. They're equal groups. And then counting them up correctly. So like I said, mark out those like dots or whatever you draw there in the groups as you go, to make sure you count them correctly to get the product, okay? So watch my next video. I'm going to show you how to do it on paper, how it should look when you're drawing it out, so that way you can go and practice it on the activities. Good luck, guys. Thanks so much for watching.